That's all thirds in the bass. So I just stole it from Beethoven.
Birds did not imitate flutes. It's the reverse. Thunder didn't imitate the drums, it was the reverse. And so the elements of nature, when it comes from that's the most powerful force there is. Just like a melody, you can study orchestration, you can study harmony and theory and everything else, but melodies come straight from God. There's really no technique for melodies, really. You can't touch it, you can't taste it, you can't smell it, you can't see it. You just feel it, and it hangs in the air, it owns, it dominates every time period, String quartets had its own time period, and nobody can ever change it because it's hanging up there in heaven someplace. They use the 440 to tune up the A, and I hear that the pulse of the universe is 454. That's pretty close. And so that A has something to do with much more than just a note. It's got something to do with just a natural rhythm of what life is about.
Never work for other people. Always remember that the reason that you initially started working was that there was something inside yourself that you felt that if you could manifest it in some way, you would understand more about yourself and how you coexist with the rest of society. I think it's terribly dangerous for an artist to fulfill other people's expectations. I think they generally produce their worst work when they do that. And the other thing I would say is that if you feel safe in the area that you're working in, you're not working in the right area. Always go a little further into the water than you feel you're capable of being in. Go a little bit out of your depth, and when you don't feel that your feet are quite touching the bottom, you're just about in the right place to do something exciting.
The ugliest human emotion that exists, envy. Nobody ever wants to admit that they're envious. It's a sign that we feel inferior, and it's an ugly emotion, and it leads to sabotaging, passive-aggressive behavior. Well, you can flip that envy around into something joyful and actually powerful and creative once you're aware that you have these tendencies. So you're always comparing yourself to other people and to what they have and feeling envious for them. You can change that very quickly. First of all, you can stop comparing yourself to people who have more, and you can compare yourself to people who have less. What does that build in you? It builds gratitude. Gratitude for what you have, which is an emotion you're not really getting much in life. Most people nowadays are so resentful about everything else they don't have. I want you to build this emotion of gratitude for the fact that you're alive, that you're healthy, that you have a career, that you have a mind, that you can do all of these powerful things. You're not paying attention.
Young people now who play the piano, one can't play it better. But then when I hear them play that way, I have my little question for them. I ask them, when will you start to make music? Make music, you see, that is something which preoccupies me. That means make music is something metaphysical. Painter, sculptor, musician, performer, composer, whatever. Somebody who has the title of being an artist, of having to do with arts, must have an unconfoundable personality. There must be the one and nobody else. He is Joe Smith and there is nobody else like that. For me, if one says, oh, he plays, it's a second Liszt or second Paderewski or a second is already wrong, If he's a second, he's no good at all.
What would you be like if there was nobody else in the world? Who would you be if the only opinion that mattered was yours? Because if you want to be truly happy, you must be that person. You must search inside yourself for what is uniquely you. When you find it, polish it until it becomes your style.
When I was first playing around with what could music sound like for the Wicked Witch, and I wanted to find something that just sounded like strength, power, a kind of quiet confidence that comes from the ground up, that comes up through your feet and into you. And so it's set way, way low. It's in D flat because I write at the piano, and D flat I feel is the best key on the piano. It's much more low endy and more open chords. never actually hit a full chord, a full resolution. It's completely open, and the only time there's actually a chord, which is there, the root of the chord is not in the bass. I'm very fond of putting the third of chord in the bass, which is sort of a technique that I assimilated way back when I was a kid taking piano lessons and playing a lot of Beethoven. You know, and Beethoven, you know, does a lot of thirds in the bass, you know. See that? That's obviously the Moonlight Sonata, but you know, he does so the treble is just open, where you don't know, is it a major chord, is it a minor chord?
Advice I ever got was from Nadia Boulanger in 1957. She said, your music will never be more or less than you are a human being. And so I started to work on the human being. I'm discovering a lot of things about myself, you know, and I'm trying now for the last 2 years to get all of the negative thoughts out of my body. Grudges, no more anger. It's a waste of time.
If it would be convenient to go into the call.
Yeah. I like that. It seems like a very natural transition into the loneliness and out of the tenderness.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see if we can do it.
Okay. Let me go back a little bit.
The thing is, where do we shift from the call to the theme? Is it on his smile? Is it when he touches the face?
That's
It
a
could
good
be
question. That's a
any
wonderful
one of those
question,
things.
and your choices are as many frames long as the sequence.
I wouldn't let anybody hurt you. We could go out together, E.T.
That's certainly the call, isn't
Yes,
it?
that's the call. That's the call. And this is the loneliness. This is Elliot's love. This is his heartbreaking.
Does he look up again?
He looks up a second time.
But that the call has to be there.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right.
Let's
Absolutely.
get that.
Absolutely.
Up or down? Maybe once down. It could go down once and then go up.
Just, I think it's important for you to try once. Let's go from D, set up the character, and stop conducting. Let them play, stop conducting. So everything you hear now, they can do on their own. But you need to add something that would add on top of it something special that makes this even more vivid, a lot of character, some electricity, something. Because all of this happens without you. And it's very hard to accept as a young conductor, and it's also hard to accept as an old conductor. But the point is that your job is really not to keep moving with the orchestra, but adding something that they won't do on their own. You know, orchestra can play very well on certain level without you, but you can add something very special. Find it. Find it. And it's usually a character. It's usually the colors that can be brighter, the pauses that can be longer, the weight that can be more dramatic, timing of a chord or something, you know. But that's already your job.
Mm-hmm. Let's
do the same thing.